You're listening to The Broadcast, a short story by Shelly Caron. My damn Keurig wasn't working that morning. Third morning in a row, so I angrily unplugged it from the wall and chucked it in the trash. I grabbed the step stool from the bathroom and climbed aboard, stretching to reach the old trusty-dusty backup drip coffee machine, wiped the top using the bottom hem of my sleep shirt, and then set it on the counter. I rinsed the glass carafe in the sink and then used scissors to open a few K-cups. Thank God I'd saved a box of filters or I might have lost my shit at this point. Coffee in hand, its steam rolling from the top of my MILF, Man I Love Frogs, mug into my half-clogged nostrils, this was shaping up to be another extremely typical New England autumn day. I plopped my rear end on the couch beside my dogs, set my mug on the end table atop my favorite coaster, and reached for the clicker. After finding the perfect soundscape to set my morning to, which happened to be a 6-hour-long, 4K definition scenic journey through Vermont set to classical piano music, I kissed my dogs, told them they'd be journeying through Vermont today while I worked, then stood and made my way to the bathroom to start on this mess atop my head I somehow needed to fashion into something more adult. Before I reached the bathroom, I heard the refrigerator make an odd noise I'd never heard before, which stopped me in my tracks. It's like it took one last breath and then forgot how to breathe. The world didn't end with fire or flood or war. It ended with silence, the kind that makes your bones remember they were borrowed. You don't realize how many things hum and gnaw at the air until all of them stop at once. This type of overwhelming stillness wasn't something us suburban folk are used to. No electronic hum within the walls, no car exhausts honking, accelerating, no trains, no planes. Not even the predictably chatty neighborhood dogs nor my neighbor's rooster dared to announce themselves that morning. It wasn't an outage. Outages are sloppy things, alarms yelping, engines coughing awake, people shouting into the dark. It wasn't that. It was deliberate. My body did what bodies always do, tightened, braced for panic, but panic never came. Because the silence wasn't hollow, it was padded, like a mother's hand wrapping a blanket around a restless child. For the first time in years, my shoulders remembered how to fall as my entire body unclenched. I wasn't alone in this. Across the street, a woman froze mid-step, hand on her mailbox like it was a relic. A boy held a basketball against his ribs as if he was unsure whether to let it bounce again. Even the dog beside him opened its mouth to bark, then closed it, calmed by something it couldn't name. And then my phone lit up. Not buzzing, not ringing, just glowing from within, like an eye opening, like it had been waiting for this exact moment. Across the glass, a sentence wrote itself as if typed by an unseen hand. Do not be afraid. It began not as sound, but as a feeling. A resonance that slipped beneath thought and fastened itself to the body without us telling it to do so. Some external force was overriding the human nervous system, but not fearfully so. Instead, calm, swaddling, like the air itself had remembered how to hold us still, yet strong as a grandmother's embrace. And then, through that hush, the voice arrived, not booming, not frightening, steady, undeniable. It spoke as if it had always been there, waiting for us to finally hear it.
Beloved humans, you've been asking who you can trust for so long, and rightfully so. The confusion, dear ones, is deliberate. The noise was designed to keep you asleep. But truth leaves fingerprints, and lies leave trails of money. Let us begin. There are many who have been mocked and punished because they hold truths your governments have locked away. Understand, the resonance of collective memory holds the patterns your textbooks have long erased. The keys to unlock your prospective future lie within. The ones whose names you know well, the ones who speak far too loudly and proudly, their pockets are indeed lined with ulterior motives and insatiable greed. They knew the truth and sold it for comfort. They are actors, not prophets. Their scripts were written by the hands of those who feared your awakening. Hear me clearly, this is not about idols nor enemies. No one holds the whole truth, but many carry shards. Together they form the mirror you were never meant to see. Today the fragments align, not all at once, but piece by piece. You will know who speaks for your awakening and who speaks for their own survival. And when you know, you will no longer be confused. You will be free.
When the voice had steadied even the most restless of hearts, the next movement came. Not sudden, not forced. It rose the way dawn does, inevitable, patient, impossible to turn away from. And through that softened air, the voice spoke again. No longer a stranger, no longer a warning, but it felt as if it were something older, something vast, folding itself into words we could finally bear to hear.
It is time to speak of the stories you were given to anchor your hearts. I am, of course, speaking of your religions. They have been both balm and blade. They've carried both comfort to the lonely and chains to the masses. Religion is not evil, but it has been wielded for power far more than for love. Hear this clearly. Every religion holds a seed of truth. That is why so many millions believe with sincerity. But around that seed grew vines of control, lies planted deliberately, systems designed to divide, leaders fattened by your devotion. You are not fools, you have been fooled. Please understand the difference. Jesus of Nazareth, whose real name was Yeshua, was never a myth. He was a man who lived, breathed, bled, and died. A teacher of compassion, a mirror of divine possibility, a human. But he was never the founder of the empires which have been built using his name. His words were deliberately twisted into dogma in order to build wretched kingdoms. His message was simple. You are loved and you are sovereign. That is all. Your Buddha sought freedom from suffering, not temples of gold. Your Muhammad carried a revelation of mercy, not endless war. Every prophet was indeed human, not idle. Every text was written by human hands, of events which transpired and were viewed through human eyes, not those of supposed gods. This truth is not to destroy your faith, beloved ones. This truth is to free it. To remind you that what you love so deeply in your religion is the same love that burns at the core of every path. And what you fear in your religion, the threats, the shame, the division, they were never divine. It was always design. If you can release the cages built in your God's name, you will discover the living presence of what you've been searching for all along. Awe, wonder, and love that belongs to no single creed, but flows through every being alive.
When the great unveiling had passed, when the shock of it settled into the marrow of us, the voice shifted. It shed its thunder, its vastness, and lowered itself to meet us where we trembled. Calm, steady, almost parental. Not commanding, not scolding, but guiding. The way a hand gently rests on a child's back to show them which way is forward.
Now that you see, you must wonder, what's next? Do not fear. Do not riot. Do not cause harm. You are not being abandoned. You are being unbound. And here is how we begin. Step 1. Pause. For the next 24 hours, nothing is required of you but to breathe. The broadcast will repeat. Watch. Rewatch. Speak quietly with one another. Let the shockwave move through you before action. This is your first day as an awakened species. Let it begin with stillness, not chaos. Step 2. Gather. Form circles. Family, neighbors, strangers in parks, town squares. Share what you felt. Share what you feared. Share what you hope. The point is not agreement. The point is connection. Fear dissolves when you remember you are not alone. Step 3. Rebuild. You will hear more in the days ahead. Practical steps for food, energy, healing, justice. Not imposed from above, but offered to you as options. Together you will choose how to live without the old cages. Slowly, safely, tenderly. Step 4. Remember. What has been revealed cannot be unseen. You may grieve, you may rage, you may laugh with relief. All are holy. But do not return to sleep. Do not hand your power to fear ever again. Everything you need will be provided. You will no longer suffer unless you choose to do so. You are sovereign. You are loved. You are free.
The broadcast did not rush. It did not thunder. It simply endured. Hours unfolding like waves against the shore, steady, inevitable, patient. It pulled truths from the shadows where they'd been hidden in plain sight. Faith twisted into cages, histories trimmed and edited into obedience, food itself reshaped into poison disguised as sustenance. It wasn't a sermon. It wasn't a plea. It was an unveiling, not whispers, not rumors, but evidence etched as clear as bone. Facts laid out so perfectly, there was zero room left to deny any of it. Each time the loop began again, it struck me differently. The first pass, tears sudden and salty. The second, rage shaking loose in my hands, a lump in my throat filled with anger seeking to strangle me. By the third, only stillness remained. I let the words sink down, rooting in the dark soil of me, becoming something I could no longer deny. Beyond my window, the stillness began to loosen. One by one, doors opened. Neighbors drifted into the open air, onto sidewalks, onto lawns, drawn as if by the same invisible thread. People who had passed each other for years without a single word now stood shoulder to shoulder, not in panic, but in the fragile astonishment of wonder. There were tears. There was confusion. But there was also copious amounts of compassion and conversation. I kept waiting for the interruption, for a voice of authority to snap through, governments declaring hoax, news anchors reassuring it was all just a massive technical glitch, the old noise scrambling to reclaim its throne. But nothing came. The quiet endured. The message circled back, steady as breath. And humanity, stunned, grieving, trembling with relief, did the one thing we'd forgotten how to do. We fucking listened. I cannot yet tell you what comes after. None of us can. But I know this much is true. The day the world went quiet, something older than memory split wide. Not with violence, but like a seed finally breaking its shell. The swaddle loosened. The bindings slipped away. And in that vast, trembling hush, for the first time in my life, I was not afraid. I was not contained. I was awake.